Hey Greg, how you doing?
Good, Trent. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well.
That's good.
Hey, how great was it to see the number of students that have gone through our local church
76
ministries?
have graduated. So it's been running 4 years, started in 2019.
Yep.
And every year we've actually had graduates. Currently there are 30 students doing the Certificate of Local Church Ministry.
Yep.
And a bunch of them will actually graduate mid-year this year before the next intake in July.
Yep. Yeah. So that certificate isn't just for pastors or people that want to be on church staff. Hey, it can be for anyone.
It can be for anyone. So anyone that really wants to develop their, I suppose, theological and practical ministry skills. So it's a mixture of both theological units. There are sort of 6 units altogether, but 3 of them are biblical units. The other 3 are more ministry skill based, so like running a small group and so on. And so the idea is for anyone in a local church community that just wants to develop or mature can actually access the certificate. Yep. It does also suit interns. So if a church is running an internship program, we can take care of the training component. But certainly anyone can do it because you live stream the lectures at your own pace. Sort of you get a certain 6-week block to do one unit.
Yep.
But because you're streaming it from home, which of course we've all got more used to over the last few years, so anyone can access it. It's sort of like an entry point. So if you've never done any theological study before and it sounds too daunting, or you think it's too expensive to go to a Bible college, this is more of an entry point. But you will get biblical units and practical ministry units at the same time.
Yeah, awesome. That's so good. We've had a number of people in our church go through it, and of all different ranges, interns to just some people that said, hey, I want to learn more about the Bible and unpack that, and it's just been wonderful for that. And I think, that great entry-level point where it's not, hey, we're not biting off a diploma or a bachelor, but they can just get a taste for it.
The other thing is the material, the content in the video lectures is really high quality. So some people will remember years ago Harvest Bible College, and many of our churches were facilitating an internship in conjunction with Harvest. It's actually the same video content. So sometimes when I'm talking to church leaders and they're interested for some of their congregation members to do it, they don't realise that link because part of it is, how do I know what they're getting? Well, we're familiar with it as a movement. And so it's the same video lectures, and it's Australian content with Australian lecturers.
It's not overseas.
No, and like at the moment we're doing
content.
a unit called Group Ministry Practice, which is how to facilitate small groups, so both for Christians and for non-Christians. And there's a lot of data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics that are part of that. So a bit like what we heard in this morning's session about Aussie culture and what non-Christians think about the church. So it's definitely within our own context. That's the other great thing. So you get high quality learning, but it's also Australian material and Australian lecturers.
Yeah, awesome. So the other thing I want to talk about is our pastors and leaders' ongoing personal development. That's something that we should all be growing and developing in, and we've promoted a little bit some courses again from Accelerate that people can get involved in. But why don't you just share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so another hat that I have is we are starting to grow. So like, for instance, myself as a credentialed minister, how do we continue to upskill, right? Because as we know, you can only lead out of who you are, and it is incumbent on us to keep growing and developing ourselves. So with the same streaming platform through Brendan Roach, we have done a couple of courses. We do one a year. The National Office send all of the ministers an email, and it's really an invitation at the moment to jump on and do it at your own pace. The subscriptions, I think, I don't know, $30 or something to do it. That's right. And I'm doing it as, I'm not asking anyone to do what I'm not doing myself. So we've done that the last 2 years, and at some point this year we'll send out another one for this year. But we'd really like that to become, I suppose, normalised in how we think as pastors and senior leaders in churches, that we're always developing our own skill ourselves, but understanding how busy everyone is. So it's not an overcommitment. There's not 6 units. But it's usually just 1 unit for the year. And it's something specific around church leadership. So certainly not what the certificate is. The content's often a lot higher and aimed at the demographic of being a senior leader.
Yep.
So if you check your emails, that'll be there.
Or you can connect
or
with
you
Greg
can just jump on their website, Accelerate, and choose a course because they have a plethora of courses. So that's something that we'll keep growing and developing, so eventually become part of our own development ongoing as credentialed ministers with Acts Global Churches.
Which is awesome. Yeah, I did some last year and we some lockdowns, but it was super straightforward on emotional health as a leader, which is really good. Just sit down and you could do some lectures on videos. They're broken into like 15, 20-minute chunks. If you're in a hurry, you can put it on 1.5 speed.
That's an important point, because when you say video lectures, people think they'll have to sit there for an hour. But actually they're in small segments. So if you've got half an hour, you can watch 20 minutes. And there's a couple of quizzes in between each one. But you don't have to sit down and do the whole unit in one hit. You can actually do it at your own pace. And it's, depending on personality, time commitment, you can do smaller chunks, or you can sit down and do a longer chunk. Because they are small clips, effectively, over the whole unit.
And there's no formal assessment too, which is nice.
No.
It's about learning yourself rather than ticking the assignment box ticking the exam box. And the goal is to get the knowledge.
So with the professional development for ministers, there is no formal assessment. So with the Certificate of Local Church Ministry, there is. And that's because we are developing and we have to ascertain, have the learners picked up the skill and the knowledge, and can they articulate it, demonstrate some competency.
Not just skip through.
That's right, not just watch a bunch of lectures. But for those of us who are credentialed ministers and are leading, of course, effectively, unless you want a doctorate or pursue some sort of higher ed that way, what we've opted for is to upskill, but there is none of that. There's no exams, there's no assessment tasks. There's a couple of quiz questions at the end of each clip, and that's it. Then you can go to the next clip. But and certainly the content is extremely aimed at people who are serving. So like the emotional well-being for ministers, all that sort of stuff. That's the sort of content you're getting.
So there's a whole bunch of courses. If you want to find out more, either about the local church certificate or the personal development, best way is jump on the Acts Global website. There's a training and development section there. You can connect them with Greg and just ask questions, anything like that. So, thanks, Greg. Appreciate your time and appreciate what you do for the movement.